How's everybody doing today? Good. We want to save money? Okay. So my name is Spencer. I'm one of the library techs here. The other gentleman you'll meet in a little bit, his name is Bill McDonald. He's our adult services and reference librarian, so he'll be talking about some other stuff. So kind of how this whole thing kind of got started is Bill and I would come in early for work and we would say, what did you watch this weekend? And we'd say, oh, we watched such and such on such and such service. And we start writing all this down and we're like, And then we got talking about how we could save money because it's getting expensive. So last November, I got my final bill from DirecTV. It was $250. Just TV, not internet, not any add-ons. That was it. After being with them for 30 some years, those little, oh, we're going to charge you an extra $2 a month, whatever. Well, over time, that obviously adds up. So finally got to the point where I started doing the math, and it's like $3,000 a year for entertainment. I said, this is insane. There's got to be a different way. So from this is how we kind of pulled this together. We did this last year. I can't remember exactly when, but it was really popular. So we've got about 50 seats here, and then we've got a whole bunch of people at home watching too, about 60 people at home. So we're live streaming this as well. So if you want to watch this on YouTube after it's posted, by all means, you can rewatch it. So good stuff. So since I have a captive audience, we have a program called Flick Friends for any of you that are interested. So you come to the library, think of book clubs. Think of this as like a book club only for video, TV shows, movies, that kind of stuff. So if you're interested and want to kind of discuss maybe what you liked, what you didn't like with other people, I've got some of these up front. You feel free to come up and get one after the class is over. Each one is themed. So like for October, we're doing mystery, thriller, and suspense. October, right? That makes sense. So you could watch something that's kind of like in that genre. Come on in and we'll say, hey, I watched such and such, or did you see whatever? So it's been a lot of fun. We've already done one meeting and it was really popular. So anyway, you want to sign up for that if you're interested. The other thing is we've already had a question that somebody came in and said, do you have all of your programs in one thing? Yes. So every month we do these program brochures. So you can pick one of these up and it's got all of our adult and youth programs in them, not just for Port Charles, but also Englewood and Punta Gorda. So everything is in here. Everything in here is free. You may just have to pre-register. That's the only little caveat with that, but that's not a big deal. Okay, so that's all out of the way. So cutting the cord, we're going to start out real simple. I've had some people say, I'm starting from ground zero. I know nothing. Where do we start? And I understand where you're at because I was there. So we're going to try and take you one step at a time, and then you can decide what's going to work for you. I don't have the magic bullet to tell you need to do 1, 2, 3, and it's going to work for you. You're going to find as we go through this, oh yeah, this is going to work for me. That may not work for me. So you may need to research that area to kind of make the best decision for whatever your needs are. Okay. So everybody's got the booklet. And if you're watching at home, there's a PDF link to the description. So you guys can watch that at home. So the first thing that I was having to be cognizant about when I was thinking about doing this is I was kind of limited by my internet speed. I live out behind the ball stadium off of 776 area, and the only people that were servicing that area at the time was CenturyLink. You might know as EmbarkMail. If you go way, way back, you might know as old Sprint. We still had them. And we had the modem that was DSL, right? They buried the lines and everything in the ground. It was a whopping, now put your seatbelts on, it's a whopping 25 megabits per second. Not 250, not 2500, 25. So I thought, am I going to have enough bandwidth to come into the house to support 3 TVs? Because that's what we have in our house. Everybody wants to watch whatever they want to watch. That's totally fine. So that was a concern I had. So the big thing is your internet speed. If you're going to want to stream, we're going to talk about a few other options where you don't need to stream. But if you want to stream, check your internet speed and seeing what that's costing you and your provider, that kind of thing. First, ironically, I got an email from Verizon saying, by the way, we need to update your plan. So I go to the local Verizon store and they said, who's giving you internet? And I said, CenturyLink. And they said, how fast is it? And once they stopped laughing, they said, do you realize we can get you Verizon? I said, what, are you going to run cable to my house? They go, no, no, no. We're going to give you this little cube. It's going to sit in your house next to a window, and it's going to pull 5G off the air. It's 300 megabits per second. By the way, it's also going to be cheaper than CenturyLink. I said, sign me up. So it's actually a little bit cheaper for that route. So if any of you, again, wherever you're getting your internet from, you may want to do some shopping around, talk to maybe your cell phone carrier, whatever, and see if there's a better deal out there. That just takes some homework to kind of figure that part out. Question?
Who makes that box?
It was right from Verizon. Yep, Verizon Wireless. It comes right off the tower. I literally plugged it in, and within 5 minutes, it was going. Question?
How does that compare with the speed on Xfinity?
So the question is, how does the speed work with Xfinity? I don't have Xfinity, so I can't tell you what their speeds are, but you would want to maybe ask Xfinity that question, then compare what you're going to be going to. So speaking of streaming, and this is going to require some checking on your part. Let me just switch over here real quick, because I've got this all queued up here for us. The TV will cooperate. We'll be in great shape. So this is exactly what I did. Is the first thing I needed to verify. Oh, actually, let me go back real quick. So I wanted to verify my speeds to make sure that I was going to be able to handle streaming to 3 TVs at once on 25 megabits per second. So let me see, I'm trying to sideways mouse. This is a whole other thing. So you can go to this website. I believe this is in your book. It's speedtest.net. This is free. Let me double check. We try to put everything in there. Yes, on page 2, number 2, it says internet speed. So there you go. So we gave you the link for it. Just whenever you're hooked up to your internet at home, if you're not sure what the speed is, and this kind of falls into what Xfinity might be giving you, you're going to be presented with this. Can you guess what you do? There's one button, go, right? So you click on this. I'm just going to bring this down. You can see it's got our Charlotte County Board of Commissioners. Apparently we're pulling our signal from Naples, and yours will be wherever. So it's kind of like driving in your car. You can see right now we're pulling about 75 megabits per second. Yours will probably be different whenever you get home. Could be more, could be less. And then once it does this test, it's then going to check the upload, which isn't really so much worrisome unless you guys are doing a lot of uploading to like YouTube or something like that, heavy video files. If you're not doing that, this isn't going to be such an issue for you. It's the first number is going to be the download. So 75, we'll call it to make the math easy, no problem. I could verify that I was pulling 25 down. So how I kind of got started to see if my particular situation was going to work is I signed up for Netflix 1 month. I put it on one TV. I went into the next bedroom, turned it on the next TV. Okay, it's clear. It's working. The first one's still working. I went into the third bedroom, turned it on. Yes, it worked. So then that's when I knew for my situation that 25 megabits per second was going to service our household. And it did for a year. It just worked out. I just went to Verizon. They said, here, we got this box. You want it? Sure. Yeah, I'll take that. So this is a tool that you can use at home. They do have an app if you want to put it on your phone or your tablet or something like that. It's free. That works out really well. So that will definitely tell you exactly what you're getting at your house. So, all right. So the other thing is you want to find before you decide that, tell them to thank you, but no thank you. Everybody's got programming that they like to watch. I think it was hard to press if we all watched the exact same thing, because I think all the carriers would be out of business. So I would sit down and I'd make a list on a piece of paper. You like to watch, maybe you got certain news channels you like. Maybe you like to watch the History Channel. Maybe you like to watch Discovery. Whatever it is you like to watch, just take a sheet of paper and list it all out. And then go took some services to see who has those services that you're interested in, or those channels rather. So then you know when you're going to do this, okay, I need to subscribe, or I might be able to get those channels for free. Then you kind of have an idea. By the way, the whole short version of this is, after I cut the cord, I went from $250 a month, I'm down to about $50 a month. And believe it or not, we're watching more TV, better TV for us, than we were when we had DirecTV, because we had 1,000 channels. We watched maybe 15, if that, out of the 1,000 channels. And I said, why am I paying for the rest of this stuff? That 100 music channels. I'm sorry, I'm not home long enough to enjoy that. So that for me was kind of a waste. So that's something else I would do, is take and just write down the channels that you want. Now, where this is going to make a big difference is if you're interested in live TV. So if you currently have cable with whoever, or like I had DirecTV, we had all the news stations. I could turn it on at any time on any of the channels and see what's happening right now. They do make such a thing with streaming. Hulu is one of them, YouTube is one of them, but note that the pricing is a lot higher than if you prefer to watch on-demand stuff. So that could be something that you might want to consider. Question?
What's the difference between on-demand and streaming?
So the question was, what's the difference between on-demand and streaming, or live TV and on-demand rather?
Is that
So
what it is?
yeah, so
Streaming is live TV,
it can be,
and
yes.
on-demand is when you go through the list and say, I want that.
So yes, so with on-demand, you'll find something in a list that's pre-recorded and you hit play, and it basically plays it back to you. With live TV, it's something that's being broadcasted right now. So that's the difference.
So, how much did it cost you to bring your internet alone into your house?
How much did it cost to bring the internet?
Yeah,
I'm currently paying for the internet. I'm currently paying about $50 a month.
50?
Yeah.
That's what you should.
Yeah, and it's 300 megabits per second instead of 25, which is what I was paying to CenturyLink. So I made out ahead. Bill's going to question?
Xfinity has a thing on TV commercial that says $35.
Yeah.
Okay. So it said Xfinity has a commercial for $35 just to bring the internet into your home. Yeah, so there you go. I'm sure, because people are leaving services like crazy these days. So
My Xfinity Wi-Fi, $100 a month.
okay, so
And I think I have their middle speed because it was on special.
oh, okay.
Redeemed that. I don't need that middle speed, but it was
Yeah, I
cheaper
mean,
than the lower speed.
absolutely. Okay, so let's. Okay, so question.
Is live TV, is that synonymous with TV that comes over, is broadcast over the air? Antennas?
Yes. Yeah, so if you're used to, like, especially watching like a certain news service, whichever brand you like, and they're like on 24 hours a
Like,
day.
what's a news service?
CNN, Fox News,
Okay.
MSNBC, any of those, like when you choose that channel on cable or DirecTV, they're showing you what's happening right now. And that's what live TV is if you decide you want that service. Yeah, so the question was about how this interfaces with your electronics, which we're going to get to, and we'll talk about different options that you'll have. So if you want an option that will give you live TV, all your local stations for almost zero, we're back to the rabbit ears. They look a little different now. You have the choice of indoor antenna and an outdoor antenna. This is pretty affordable. Let me get back to, I tried to preload everything. So if we go up to here, so I did a search for indoor antenna, okay? Good old Amazon. I love these because I look at this. You're going to be able to get 1,100 plus miles from this antenna. Let me explain something to you. The last time I checked, we live on this blue ball called Earth. Earth is not square, it's round. Okay? So, antennas go straight. They don't bend. So this number is fiction. How do I know this? Because I talked to an antenna expert. He said, this is ridiculous. He said, with one of these types of indoor antennas, you're going to get about 30-ish miles. So that could be good. That for us, that could be around maybe down to Fort Myers and definitely Sarasota. I don't think we're going to be able to touch Tampa because that's kind of like 90 miles away. So if you get one of these, that's great. If that works for you, just don't expect to get, oh, let's see what's going on in Tennessee. It's not going to work. Okay. So the other option you have is the outdoor antenna. So at my house, I know what I know and I know what I don't know most of the time. I don't know how this stuff works outside. So I called up a company. I said, come put one in. They said, okay, no problem. They showed up, stuck it outdoors, wired it, made sure it all worked when they left. So all I had to do at the end of the day was pick up the remote and go pink, and I had TV. This is good for 100 miles. Okay, so that's within that 70 to 90 mile curvature of the Earth that we can grab from. I've got no problem getting Tampa from this antenna. Now it's outside, it is powered, it plugs into the wall inside. I get 105 channels for free from this antenna. So you're like, okay, great. What channels can we get? Well, let's take a look.
How much is that antenna?
That one was about 300 bucks. It just, and there's all different makes and models. So don't worry about the whole money thing. You might find something that's cheaper that'll work for you. No, this is strictly all over the air. If your computers and your streaming and all that blew up tomorrow, you could still have TV because it's the old fashioned over the air. Yep. So the question is this the same with the indoor antenna? Yes, when you just plug it in the back of your TV and then, so when you guys get an antenna like one of these, you're going to attach it to your TV and it's going to ask you to program it. You got to program the tuner of the TV. So it takes it a minute to kind of figure out, okay, channel 11 is going to be wink and so forth, right? And then you're good. So that's kind of a nice thing. Oh, if you have multiple TVs in your house and you don't have somebody like wire it, you're going to need an antenna for each TV. So that's something to be thinking about. If you only got one TV and it's just you and spouse, whatever, then you're fine. So this is what we have for our local area. You can see it's all the major networks. So you're like, well, that's great, Spence, but you just said that there was a lot more available. You're right. I've got to go and click on this little button that says all channels. Here's all the different channels. I'm kind of in the way. Half this stuff, I couldn't even tell you what it is. But it's on there, like the Florida channel. That's kind of a cool one. Why they had a whole thing on Ringling one day. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, so you might want to go through here and check. But this is through Channel Master. If you want to check out their website, you can see what's in our area. I pulled this up for 33952, which is kind of around here, right? So just go online and just put in channelmaster.com and it'll come up. Good question. Is there a question in the back? Okay, yeah, channelmaster.com. There's a question.
You said you have 3 TVs
Yes,
and you have that one big outside one.
yes.
So how do you run your other 2?
So the question is, I've got one antenna. How do I spread it to 3 TVs? When they wired it, there's a cable coming down off the antenna going into a splitter that's got 3 or 4 inputs, TV1, TV2, TV3. And then, so when we had the antenna back in the day, if you wanted to watch PBS, everybody in the house had to watch PBS. We even had a rotating antenna, if anybody remembers those. So when I had this put in, I said, hey, do we all have to watch the exact same thing? He says, how long ago have you had one of these things? I said, so he says, oh, no, scrap all that. He said, it's all digital now. Somebody could watch PBS and somebody else could watch Wink and somebody else could watch whatever all in the same time, different channels. It's all digital tuner now. Question? So the question is, do I have to take the antenna down in the storm? No, but after having the old outdoor antenna for 20 some years, it's Florida. We had some storms, right? So one by one, I started losing the little pieces of aluminum. So I just had to have the entire top put back on after all these years. But no, I've not taken it down.
You need one of the indoor antennas for each TV.
So do you need an indoor antenna for each TV? Yes, if you're going to go that route, because it's going to plug directly in the back of the TV, as far as I understand it.
On the channel master thing, you're doing that on your computer, not on your.
Yeah, you want to go on your computer for the channel master and just, it's a website that you can go to and check out.
Can you bring it up on your TV?
No, I don't think so, unless you have a browser on your television. Question? So the question is, do any of the streaming services provide live TV? And the answer is yes, which we're going to go through here in a little bit. So it's a great question. Okay. Okay.
On the antenna, this video is I have one of those at home for my main TV. It's a smart TV.
Okay.
But I don't get the channels. I have to get up on a bar stool for these things. So this pole, I can take that, put it up in the attic. But then how does that get connected to the TV? Is there like a splitter box up there or something that it's got to get connected into in order to get down to that smart TV?
So for the people at home, basically the question is, if you put your indoor antenna up in the rafters, how do you get the signal down to your TV? In that case, yes, you would need a really long cable if it's one TV, or if you got two TVs, then you would have to go into some kind of, splitter box and then run it off to the TVs. I don't see why you couldn't. If it depends on the internet, though. For those of you that are dealing with already a cable provider, the question was, can you use your existing cabling? Possibly, yes. I'm not the expert on this. That's why I called somebody and I said, hey, come see what I got and see if you can figure this out. So I called a local company. They came out and said, this is what we can do for you. Perfect. And I just let them handle it, and it works.
Yeah, what is the company?
I called, it's Quality TV in Northport. I'm not endorsing them or anything. I'm just telling you that's who I called. They came out, they did the work, and it works. So I would say call and talk to them yourself and see what they can do for you if that's something you're interested in. But so for me, the question is, where is the antenna mounted? So you have the choice of, generally it's going to be on some kind of pole outside your house, and they'll try to figure out, like I live in a kind of a wooded area, so they tried to find an area that was more clear so I could get a better shot of getting the right direction. It's kind of like you're moving the thing around trying to find the most amount of channels you can get. Again, so what I actually have at the house is, like, you've probably seen them. They're like 3 poles that come together. It has like a scissor thing like this that you can actually crawl up it. It's a TV tower that we put together years ago, not just recently, but that's what they put the antenna on. Now, if you have 0 right now, they would probably put some sort of aluminum or steel pole in the ground and then put the antenna on top next to your house. Yes, because what's going into the ground. So yeah. So it's going to be, you got to think about lightning strikes and stuff like that. We've been lucky so far. So I've not had an issue with that, but just over the years, the storms and everything have just taken a beating out, like she was asking, Hurricane Charlie and that little Hurricane Ian we had and all that kind of stuff. So, okay, so that's something to think about. All right, so this again is, buy this one option, set up your TV, you're done. It's zero cost, except for the whatever it is you're going to do for that. All right. Now to stream, you've got some options here. You don't need all this stuff. It just depends on what your situation is. So we bought one of the very first 4K TVs. Why? Because, oh, it's coming. We need this TV. I'm still waiting. Okay. So that was like 7, 8 years ago. So I knew that, like, I could get Netflix on it and Hulu and something called Vudu, which was like, I think, a thing Walmart tried way, way back, if anybody goes back that far. So I realized, and it's a Samsung, so I knew that to get the more latest apps, it was not going to run on this older television. So I needed something. And this is something that Bill and I were talking about. I was like, oh, what are some different options that we could do to interface your TV? So if you have a newer TV that has a nice app store where you can just go and download the apps and be done with it, perfect. You're all done. In my case, that wasn't going to work. I'm Apple everything at my house. I do not let a Windows machine in my house. I just cannot deal with it. So the phone, the tablet, the earbuds, the watch, the whole 9 yards. So I went ahead and stuck with Apple and got an Apple TV. In fact, that's what we got here today, that we're going to fire this up here and show you guys a couple of things. Basically, I plugged the box in, put the HDMI cord in the back, hit go, it was done. Because I had it connected to the router, the internet. So it wasn't too bad. This is a more expensive option, Apple TV. I'm not saying you have to buy this. I'm just telling you this is what I use. There's also an Amazon Fire Stick, the Chromecast. Roku is really popular. And there's all different kind of price points. So in your books, this is not by means all of them. So on page 4 and 5, we try to put different price points for different, whatever it is that you want to do. But the first thing I would probably check is to see if your TV will do it. Also,
If your TV, what?
to see if your TV will allow you to download the apps first. Yeah, so if you already got like something like a Roku TV, perfect. So yeah, just check to see what you got as far as the equipment goes. We were also talking about the quality of your TV, your hardware and stuff like that in order to stream. That's what the gentleman was asking about. So since we're dealing with a TV, you may want to look at one of these to see what is going to be better suited for your needs. Like I know with the Apple TV, it was faster, did 4K and had all this other stuff in it. More expensive. So I knew I wasn't going to have an issue down the road for me. But you guys may find that the Fire Stick or the higher end Roku, whatever is going to work for you. Or maybe just bought a brand new TV. Don't need to, spend any money. That'd be even better. Question?
What is the farther one, what does it do?
It's the same as the rest of this. So the question is, what's the Roku? It's like the Fire Stick. What it does is allows you to take a signal from your internet and put it on your TV. Yep.
And the other one the same?
They're all the same. They all do the same thing.
Are these prices in the book, are these per month or per year, or is it just?
One and
For the
done.
one.
So the question is the pricing in the book. For example, the Amazon Fire Stick is $30 and up. So if that's what you decide on, you would pay the $30. You're done. For example, it was like $149 for the Apple TV. I paid that once and I'm done. So that'll run probably until they wheel me in the nut house. So again, with the Roku, it's got like $25, $40. It just kind of depends. The Chromecast is 25 and up. So kind of do your research and see what it is you like. Question?
Yes, can you use the Apple TV device on a Samsung? Are these things interchangeable?
So the question is, can you use the Apple TV on a different device? Yes, because we have Samsung TVs at the house and I'm using the Apple box on it. So that's totally fine. It's sending a signal to the TV and the TV is just showing you what's coming out of the HDMI cable. It doesn't know if it's coming out of a Roku or Apple, or it's just showing you a picture. So good question. Yes. Good question. So she said, do you need a separate device for each TV? Yes, for each one you want to stream. So you may say, okay, well, if I'm going to get, let's say like the Roku Express is $25. By the way, we did update all the pricing in here as of like a month or so ago. Then if say you got 3 TVs, 25 times 3, right? That's $75 that you're going to need for the equipment. So that's something to keep in mind. Question in the back?
This is very basic for me. So I have a smart TV.
Okay.
And if I look at it and I see everything I need, then I don't need any of these other things.
Right. So right, yeah. So to read to
What
clear.
would the Amazon, just as an example, what would the Amazon Fire Stick give me that's not on my smart TV? Like, I don't know how I would.
Access. So the question was, if you have a newer TV that already has all the apps that you want on it, why do you need these other things? You don't. This is to give you access if your TV does not currently offer you access to those services.
What you're saying is that what everybody's gonna see here is that you need to have input for HDMI.
Yes. So what he's
Motherboard.
yeah. So basically, he's saying is you have to make sure that the TV in the back has what they call an HDMI input. If you bought your TV within the past 5-6 years, it should. I have not seen the old component video in a long time. So you just want to double check that there's a port in the back that says HDMI and you'll be good to go. Do you have a question?
I just bought a smart TV.
Okay.
Hasn't even been hooked up yet. I have 2 TVs, however, the other one isn't smart. Do I have to get a Roku stick or a Fire Stick for the second TV?
Yeah, so the question was, do you have a TV that's smart and the other one's dumb? Do you need to get something to make the dumb TV smart? Yes. So that's where, in your case, you may, as long as it's got the HDMI port, you would want to pick one of these other devices and that will make it smart.
And then I could probably get the least expensive one because I already have the smart TV.
Yeah, whatever works for your needs. So here's the other thing. If you're going to buy one of these devices, check what the return policy is wherever you're buying it. Just in case it doesn't work for you, you can take it back. So that's one thing of this electronic stuff. So make sure that you can return it within like 14 days or something like that if it doesn't work. All right. So again, so that's kind of the equipment. Okay, so now we're going to talk about free stuff. We like free. Let me grab a quick drink. Okay, this is all in your book on page 6 and 7. Frankly, when I started this, I was shocked how much free stuff that there is available. So let's say, okay, you bought your device if you need it, or you're on your brand new smart TV and you can download any apps. Here's some that are very popular. You might even recognize some of these. And I would say download them all, try them all, and then you'll find which ones you like, which I'll show you here in a minute what I'm talking about. Crackle is free. Somebody mentioned it. I downloaded it. It works, but it just didn't grab me. Okay, not a big deal. FV is Freevee. You might know this by another thing, Amazon. This is Amazon's free video service. So it's got ads. Not a bad deal, but it's free. Did you guys question?
The only trouble I have found with that is that if you happen to be watching a movie on that channel, they give you 10 commercials in between.
And that's why it's free. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I mean, no,
So,
they're not all like that. Tubi's not.
yeah. Did you guys know that if you are a Charlotte County property owner and you've got a Charlotte County card, we give you a streaming app for free? How many people know this? Wow, about 5 hands went up in a room of about 50. Canopy. Go home, download this. It's part of your library card. It's awesome. There's all kinds of stuff on there. How? Okay, so she's saying for the folks at home is that she has an LG TV and that it would not support Canopy. Neither would mine. And I've got a Samsung, the one that's 7-ish years old, but the Apple TV box did. So I went to the App Store, downloaded it, put in my credentials, and away I went. So yeah, so that might be a reason why you might want to consider one of those other options to download. If you have a service you're interested in, if this is going to become like one of your greatest streaming services and it's worth 25 bucks to get a Roku or something to upgrade the TV, you're in. Somebody had a question over here?
Oh, yes. This is stupid, but how do you download that if you don't have a smart TV?
Oh, if you don't have a smart TV, you would need one of those previous things like the Roku, the Chromecast, and all that stuff to then go into their store and download it. And it'll be free to download the apps. Yeah. Question?
The only one, because on my smart TV, I clicked on one of them and it didn't show me anything except subscribe and a cost. It seemed like everyone I went through had a cost associated.
Okay, so the question was, are these the only ones that are free? The answer is, I don't think so. I'm trying to get you guys some information to get you started, but you may want to do some more research here. But if you download, for example, Pluto, it should not ask you for any money. It should, they may ask you to sign up with an email and password, but no money, no credit card. I can't say for what the apps are that you're seeing that they're trying to charge. We're going to get into, trust me, we're going to get into some stuff that charges. But these are the ones generally. I mean, there's a ton more. This, we just didn't want to give you a book that was, 787 pages of stuff. So yeah, so I would say get started with these. PBS is also free. A lot of people don't realize it. There is a caveat with PBS. For example, I watched a lot of their, I'm trying to think of one I've watched. Like, for example, I just got the Pompeii, the new Dig. That's PBS. It's on DVD. We have it downstairs. I was like, oh, I'll just watch it on my app instead of getting the disc. PBS has what they call Passport. If you donate, I'm not sure what the amount is, to your local PBS station, then they unlock everything. But a lot of their stuff, like for example, I like to watch on PBS, it's called The New American Recipe, where these folks get together. It's a cooking competition, but it's not like, those shows you see them yelling and screaming at each other. I can't handle that. These people all work together. I was like, oh, this is a cool thing. That's free. It's on PBS. You can download it. Pluto and Tubi. Out of all of these, I use these two the most, and I do watch some Canopy. And I'll show you, we can fire up some of these here in a minute just to show you what they look like in case you're interested. Okay, now we're going to get into the fun stuff. So you've determined, how many of you, let's just pick a channel. How many of you like the History Channel? Oh, all right, about 3/4 of you. That was one I wrote down on my piece of paper when I was getting ready to cut the cord. My wife and I, we enjoy the History Channel. There's all kinds of stuff on there. I could not find it anywhere for free. So I had to do some digging, and I found the best bet for the History Channel is on Friendly TV. We can quickly go over all of these. Now, we talked about Apple TV, the box. They also have a service that you can subscribe to every month that you can watch TVs, shows, movies, all that good stuff, and stuff that's produced by Apple. That is an option. BritBox, for those of you that like shows from across the pond, that might be something you might be interested in. I was trying to look up, I think it's called Are You Being Served? I used to watch as a kid. Love that show. I think it's all on BritBox now. There's another really great show, if any of you, it's called The Repair Shop, and it's on BritBox. If you've not heard of it, it's people bring in their antiques that are like 100 years old and need it fixed. And these guys fix it. and an old, it's amazing. So anyway, all right, Discovery. I'm a Discovery nut too. So with Discovery, you think, oh, am I just going to pay that money, get the Discovery Channel? No, they have a cluster of about 10. A&E, the Magnolia Channel, Cooking Channel, both cooking channels, Food Network and the Cooking Channel, the Science Channel. There's a whole bunch of them. Before you sign up for any of these things, go to their website and they'll show you what's going to be included.
I get all of them.
So, yeah, so this might be an option for you. Disney, if you got kids, grandkids, if you really love that kind of stuff, yeah, knock yourself out. Get the Disney Channel. Friendly is a little, it's kind of special. So at Friendly, you get about, don't quote me on this, but I want to say it's around 40 to 50 channels. It includes live TV, and it's the only one that I know of that has a cloud-based DVR in it.
Which one?
Friendly. Yes. So Friendly, let's say you're active, you're out playing golf, you're working, whatever your deal is. The show you want to watch is on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You can tell it to record. You come back at night after dinner, you pull up the show, you watch the show. When a commercial comes, you fast forward.
The only one I don't get.
So there you go.
Sorry, I missed that. Zip through that.
So basically this has a, so basically this is has live TV. There's about 40 to 50 channels and it has a cloud-based DVR. Question in the back?
So the DVR capability is no matter which one you pick, screen or screen.
Right.
I
Yes,
don't like
it's
that.
all,
If you have the DVR, you can then fast forward through your
Yeah,
ads.
it's a Hallmark channel
Yes.
somewhere else.
Fast forward.
if
I don't know
the,
whether it's
if the,
Or is it those little things that if DVRs from cable company would do?
yes. So the question is about Friendly, the difference in the pricing, the 2 screens at $9.99 or 4 screens at $11.99. It's not an ad-free option. The $9.99 offers a 3-month DVR, and the $11.99 offers you a 9-month DVR. So it's the length of time, like when you record something, how long does it sit on their server?
Okay, for 3 months.
Then not, yeah. So if you really are into, like, for example, I think I've got How It's Made or something like that tagged. I've probably got 500 episodes sitting on there waiting for me. It's just like, there's not enough time in the day. Question?
And that DVR thing is just like if you get the 2 screens, so it's
Yes.
good in your living room and in your family room.
Yes, because you'll be logged into the same account. Yep. So the question was the DVR good if you have more than 2 screens in your, or 2 TVs in your house? I've got 3 in my house. So we've all got our own little thing going on the DVR for Friendly. So Fubo,
You can get some of those free on another channel.
yeah, so you want to do your homework and find which one's
Yeah.
going to work for you.
Now, these are per month charges. right?
Yes, these are all per month charges. It's in your book.
So that,
Question.
that was gonna be my big question. If you go with the antenna,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
inside or
that's
out,
free.
and you have a show that you like to watch, how do you do
But
it?
this
So
one's
that's
free.
perfect.
This one's
Yes,
free.
as long as it's on something that supports that, in this case, Friendly. So if you're used to having a separate box in your house that allows you to record, this is done in the cloud, but it's for Friendly service only. So if you have something on Apple TV and you want to record it, that's not going to work.
I
Okay.
would only wanna record, let's say, PBS, NBC, something like a weekly show that I watch.
As long as it's on Friendly. Yes. Oh, okay, sorry. You could, if you're only doing, all right, so the question is, do you still need the internet if you just want to do one service? Question is yes, or the answer is yes. If you're only doing like one TV in your house, you might be able to get away with, like, I was at 25 and I was running 3, you might be able to get away with 10, maybe 8. You want to
10 or 8 what?
megabits per second.
Oh.
Sorry, the speed that's coming into your house. And again, if you go do that test, you'll know what your speed is going to be. The other thing I would recommend with if you're going to get into like something like this and start spending some money, you'll have the option of doing a monthly charge or annual charge. The annual charge is generally cheaper. But let's say you're like, well, Spence said Friendly is the greatest thing going since sliced bread. You get home, you pay the annual fee, and you start using it, you go, I hate this. There is no refund as far as I know. When you put your ticket in to be punched, you're committed. So what I do is I pay a monthly fee. It's a little bit higher. At any time, I can turn stuff on and off. I'm in control of my programming now, not the big cable companies. Okay. For example, Hulu. Everybody said, when I was talking to everybody, said, oh, you got to get Hulu. Hulu is the way to go. Hulu is the best. I paid 4 months for Hulu, 1 month at a time. I asked around the house, is anybody watching Hulu? Nobody was watching it. Guess what? Turned it off.
You know, I wanted to watch something on TikTok, so I was watching it so that I would have it for the whole
So that is an
time.
option.
It cost me a thing, and I decided, okay, now I don't want it.
So there you go. So that's an option for the folks at home. If you didn't hear that, is you can do the trial for a few days and watch the programming that you want to watch. And then if you don't have re-up, you don't re-up. Max, right? That's HBO. Oh, question? That's all right.
You just turn it off. Now we have to call DirecTV and tell them, this or that. How do you do it? Stop it.
Generally, you go to their website. Like, for example, with Hulu, I went to hulu.com. I logged into my account. I found where it said cancel my subscription. I hit the button. They said, are you really sure you want to do this? They're really convincing, maybe they'll throw some money at you. And I said, no, it's not going to work for us. So I hit cancel. And they said, okay, on this day, because you paid up to 30 days, we're going to kill it. I said, fine, perfect. And
Do it
so
on your computer, not on an icon on your TV.
the icon is still there. It just doesn't work. If I ever want to, I could go back to Hulu and say, turn it back on. So you're in control of what you guys want to do. The big thing is when you have that piece of paper with all the channels that you guys want to watch, then you'll not have to figure out what's going to work for you, for your specific situation.
Are you going to explain, obviously, all this stuff interfaces with your main computer, whatever computer you have?
It doesn't in my house. It all interfaces with the Apple TV or the Roku stick or any of that kind of stuff. Yeah. Netflix is one of the more premium of premiums, I like to call it. If you like documentaries, true life stuff, to me, this for our services, this is one of the best ones out there for us because we like to watch that kind of stuff. They got all kinds of crazy stuff on there. So I turned off Hulu, and then I found out, oh no, all the CBS shows that we want to watch, like Tracker, SWAT, the FBI, all this kind of stuff. So I turned this off and I signed up for Paramount Plus. So not only do we get all the CBS shows that we liked, you also get streaming of your local CBS channel. So for us, that's going to be Wink. So if the antenna goes down for some reason, but you have streaming, you could still see what's going on in Fort Myers.
But
What?
that doesn't have the DVR.
No. Somebody else have a question?
I was just wondering, it seems to me there's a couple of those services that offer either direct live streaming or selected streaming. You know what I'm saying? And so you don't always get everything. That is, choices depending, I think you need to check that one before you buy one of these.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about the direct streaming and the selective streaming. Now, for example, since Paramount Plus is CBS, they're going to have a lot of CBS stuff. Netflix, anything that they make is going to be on Netflix. They're not going to farm it out to another service because they produced it. Let's say it's a movie like The Great Outdoors, right? Dan Aykroyd and John Candy. Cool movie. I'm not sure if that was on Paramount produced that, but it might be on one of these other services because it is an older movie. I think it's around 81 or so. But yeah, that's something that you'll find is that also the selection will travel sometimes. So you're like, oh, I was watching House Hunters on Discovery on HGTV, and all of a sudden they're like one or two episodes or seasons are now gone somewhere else. That can happen sometimes. So
Well, the reason I say that is because I went to a friend's house to watch the Democratic National Convention. Their service did not offer the live action.
Oh,
version of
okay.
it, so I had to go home and watch it.
yeah, so that's where something like the live TV would come in, which
Right,
we'll talk
exactly.
about.
That
Yep.
would be the difference if it's live TV, if it's streaming, when you're choosing. Is that right?
Yes. So like for example, on page 10, Hulu, you'll notice, let's look at this for a minute, right? We're talking about live TV. If you go on it, if you want live TV and Hulu, it's going to cost you $76.99 and up. If you want to do like the on-demand kind of situation, it's $7.99. It's a drastic reduction. If you don't want to do ads, then it's $17.99. To me, that's still pretty affordable considering what I was paying. So yeah, it's going to kind of depend on if you're going to need that live TV or not. Fubo, I don't do sports, but if any of you guys are sports people, you might be interested in Fubo, and they offer live TV, but that's $80 and up. So now you're starting to really get, so that's what I'm saying. You got to kind of do your homework ahead of time and find out what's going on. With a lot of these apps, you'll also find out that there's an ad-free option and an ad option. Okay, I got limited time in my day. I pay the few extra bucks and I go ad-free just because I can bang out when I want to sit down and watch something. I'm not interrupted by, like he was saying, 10 ads or whatever in the thing. I can just watch the show. So a lot of these will offer an ad-free version if that's something that you're interested in. Peacock is NBC. You can also get live TV, which is on the back of your booklet on page 12. There's a live TV option with YouTube. And the DVR? Okay, so there you go. So somebody said there is a DVR option with YouTube. I don't have this particular one, so she does. So there you go.
This is per month.
Per month, yeah. All those prices that's in the books for the premium apps is per month. Question? Your debit or credit card, and then they just bill you every month.
Do they take it out or do you get to pay the bill?
They just automatically have been taking it off my card. So I'm just going to show you a few things. Bill has got stuff that he's going to share with you here in a few minutes. So this is, in case what you're wondering, this is what Apple TV looks like. And usually they have their, sporting some kind of thing here. Taylor Swift, apparently. Somebody was asking about how do I download an app? So you want to go to your device's store. Store can be kind of a misleading thing because a lot of the apps are free. Like in this case, this is App Store. I just say I want that. I put in whatever it is I want, and I can download it. And that's how you get it on your local device, okay? Or it's on your, it's going on this box right here. Right here's the Apple TV. So that's connected to the TV. So that's actually what I'm playing with. And it came with this nice little remote. All right, so here you can see we've got Pluto, Crackle, Freevee, PBS, Tubi, YouTube, Canopy, and Prime Video. If any of you are paying for Amazon Prime, so the boxes come to your house and like almost overnight now, some craziness, you may want to download Prime Video and log in. They got a lot of stuff on there for Prime. This is where I watched that new movie that came out. It's called Boys in the Boat. That was a great movie. If you've not seen it, I saw it on here. All right, we're not going to go through all of this, but for example, let's go to Pluto because I know that one. I like this stream now, pay never. Ah, there we go. If I'm looking for just something just to watch that requires no brain power, good old Bob, right? We can't go wrong with Bob. Here we go. So here's kind of like on demand means you want to watch, see if they've got it and watch it. They offer a channel guide. Let's see if I can get over here to channel guide. Here we go. So you can see over here we got, nope, come on. We got movies, comedy, classic TV, Green Acres. I remember watching that when I was, right? Mama's Family, all this stuff. I Love Lucy. If you want comedy channel, there's comedy stuff in there. So there's all kind, this is all free. Now, granted, there's going to be ads, but if you're looking for a very free option, this might be something that you're interested in. Reality. All this stuff that we remember back from the 90s. News, somebody's asking about news. So there is some news stuff on here that is current. So that might be of use to you. So anyway, so this is just one app. So you could download this and just play with it for free. All right, I'm going to give myself a break. Bill, do you want to come up and talk about? He's got some more tips and stuff for you. So yeah, no problem.
Well, about 6 or 7 years ago, my wife and I decided that we wanted to go for a day or two to see this rock performer named Iggy Pop. I don't know if any of you have heard of old Iggy. Well, he was playing in Miami, South Beach, and I thought, well, I'm not rich enough, I'm not good looking enough, and I certainly am not young enough to go to South Beach. My wife said, don't worry, I've got us at a free night here, and we really nice hotel, and it's a free night because of this credit card that she got. And as we get in the lobby, I'm looking at how ornate and beautiful the lobby is, and my wife Pam says to me, I think I'm going to try and upgrade our reservation to a penthouse suite. And I said, wait a minute, I said, you can't upgrade a free night. That's just insane. So she, go ahead and try. Well, she said, oh, we got it. And so, you know, it was a beautiful room, and it even had a hot tub adjacent to the lanai, and we could see the ocean and all this for free. So the reason why I tell this story is that just because you're saving money doesn't mean your quality will suffer. Sometimes it may improve. So we're hoping that, and this will be a discovery process for each and every one of you, because all our tastes in what we want to watch is different. So hopefully through that discovery, we're hoping that some of you, can't guarantee that all of you will experience this, that maybe you'll, when you save money, you'll actually discover more quality. So anyway, so what is a way, once you have some of the streaming channels, what are some ways to improve your viewing experience? Well, what I like to do is at the end of each month, well, maybe the last week or two, I will Google what's new on Amazon Prime or what's new on Netflix. And I'll go down and I'll look at them and I'll write down, ooh, I want to see that movie. I'm a movie buff, so maybe From Here to Eternity is playing, or the latest Marvel movie is playing. Well, Marvel usually will go to Disney, so scratch that one. But and also with specials and documentaries. And sometimes I may be intrigued by a title and have no idea what that means, and I'll Google it and say, oh, that doesn't look interesting, or oh, maybe I want to check that out. And also on that same list, and several websites have it. So if one website doesn't load right, or says they want you to subscribe to it, you can usually go down and find one that has it. It's what's new on that particular app for the month coming up. They'll also have usually on the bottom towards the end of the website, what is leaving this channel. And that's important too, because maybe if you have that, and I've always wanted to see that movie, or I want to see that movie again, or I want to see that documentary, I didn't get a chance to. Well, it's going to leave on September 28th. So, that you have so much time to watch that. Now, where do these things go? Sometimes they'll go to another streaming service. Sometimes they'll lay dormant and pop up a year later someplace else. So, in other words, a lot of these apps, Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, they're almost like leasing it for a while. Now, some of the shows like The Sopranos will usually stay with HBO because it's such a signature show. But I've noticed now some of the shows that were fairly big on Showtime are now coming to Netflix. Yellow Jackets just came there. Dexter just came there. So try and find out, what's going to play on a particular streaming channel. Also, you may want to Google, and you can do this anytime, what are some of the best documentaries on Netflix or Amazon Prime? And you may get 3 different websites and get 3 different lists of what's good. And so maybe you hadn't heard of this, or maybe there's Spencer and I watched a Netflix documentary. I think it went over to Freevee or Tubi. It was about a gentleman who was a fake wine connoisseur. He passed himself off as being an expert wine expert, and he could even design the bottle, and he just like a particular vintage, and he made millions of dollars until somebody caught him and said, "Wait a minute, this guy's giving you phony advice." But he fooled so many wine experts, and it was a fascinating documentary. So you may find stuff like that. Also, you may find stuff that sometimes, okay, for instance, Spencer and I, as he said, we come in, and this is how the whole origin of this program, we come in a little early. Spence puts on the coffee. "What'd you watch, Pat? What'd you watch last night?" I said, "Oh, you got to catch the one on Apollo 13. It's great." And of course, he had already seen it. But so sometimes you know what you're going to want to watch, and it delivers. Sometimes, however, you'll discover programs like I watched this 8-part documentary series on this college cheerleading team. It was fascinating, and I had no interest in college cheerleading. These were competitive cheerleading squads that do not necessarily cheer for a team like a basketball team or a football team. They compete against other competitive cheerleading teams. And this was this community college, and how much preparation and training and expertise went in to these competitive cheerleading teams. And it was just fascinating. So sometimes you'll discover something you thought you had no interest in. So I think that's one of the great things about these channels. However, when we talk, and as far as prices go, they all run around $15 a month, $17 a month. And as Spencer said, you can sometimes get it with ads. Like Hulu with ads is $8. Without ads, it's $18. So now we had Hulu for a while. The ads didn't bother me. My wife wasn't crazy about it. We subscribed to Hulu for a while, and that's a great thing about these services. You can just have it for 2 months. We picked up Hulu when there was a show on Truman Capote and the Swans, or we picked up HBO Max when there was a show on The Plumbers about like a dramatization of the Watergate scandal. So you can watch these things for a couple of months, And even when you preview them, now I heard mention what you mentioned about previewing, their only caveat I'll say is that sometimes you can watch the whole thing, but if it's a real popular show, they may only show you the first show of that season because they know that
You're hooked.
you're hooked, or they know what we're trying to do. But if it's the past season, they may give you the whole thing, like uh, or a particular movie. If it's real popular, you may not have access to it, or you may have access to it. I have free HBO trial, and we caught the latest West Side Story. But another film that had come out at the same time was blocked with the free preview. So that's one thing. One of the weaknesses and of some of the streaming channels that we talk about are in the area of sports and news. Now, Netflix, I did watch a documentary last night on the Miami Hurricanes, and I occasionally follow college football, but I had no idea that they were a powerhouse in the late 90s and the 2000s. They won several national championships. Fantastic documentary about the Miami Hurricanes. They have a documentary. So they've got great sports documentaries. But as far as current sports, Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO Max is not maybe the greatest thing to have if that's what you want to watch. However, there's a couple of options, and you can determine if this is cheaper than what you're currently paying for with your cable packages. But Sling TV, and I have not used Sling TV, they offer two networks or two variations, an orange and a blue channel, and they'll list what each channel has. And evidently, the orange channel might be better for sports. And then there's also sports add-on that you can get on for $11. And they list some of the things like the ACC, which is the Atlantic Coast Conference, SEC, which is the Southeastern Conference. The Blue Network has the big, for a sports add-on, has the Big Ten Network. And the sports add-ons, I think, are $11. The Sling TV channels, I think, go for $40, but they have a lot of different things like Comedy Central and some of the things that you are used to, such as the History Channel, AMC, CNN, Fox, TBS, that sort of stuff.
Bill?
Yeah.
You are checking these all on their website before you make a decision to go to one of these?
Yeah, I would definitely check.
Okay, but
the-
you're checking on the website as opposed to on
Right. Yeah. I've never used Sling TV. I was trying to find an option for streaming if you like sports, and also talk about news in a little bit. But so for Sling Blue, they have the Big Ten Network, and somebody was telling me now the Big Ten Network now consists of not just Ohio State and Michigan State and Indiana and Purdue and those, but also some of the West Coast teams like UCLA and Southern Cal and Oregon. So, and the other thing too about sports is remember, like, okay, let's say with the Golf Channel, the PGA Masters, the Open Championship, which used to be called the British Open, if you remember, maybe most likely go towards a major network, CBS, NBC, Fox, not Fox News, but the Fox network. Some of the not as popular tournaments will be picked up by the Golf Channel, or maybe you'll see more in-depth interviews on the major tournaments on the Golf Channel, and that's the same way with football too. So the bigger, huge conference games are often going to go to the stations with a lot of money, NBC, CBS, ABC. So you may want to get that digital antenna as well as some of the sports packages. The indoor digital antenna, which I think goes for $20 or $30, which you can probably pick up at Walmart. How about if you like news? Well, I got a couple of strategies, and if you may not like the strategies, I'll also bring up Sling TV. Oh, as far as sports too, I want to mention one of our employees here in the library. Her husband really loves football, and so he subscribes to YouTube TV, which has a lot of sports options. Now, YouTube TV isn't cheap; it is about $82 or $83, but it does give you a lot of access to different sports. So once again, sports is all going to be cut up on various channels, as is everything too. So you kind of got to find out what you're paying, what you want, whether it's sports or news, or do you want to watch, these dramas and documentaries and comedies, and find the streaming channels that give you that. Or if you like some of the traditional channels, as we mentioned, that you find on cable, Sling, and Spencer mentioned Friendly TV as well. So find out what you like and see if there is a streaming option. Now, as far as news, there's a couple of things I would suggest. If you are following a certain news story, and let's say you've cut your news channels, you can go. Let's say you were looking the Baltimore bridge collapse that happened a while ago. You can type that into Google and bring up all these YouTube news reports from various stations and various analysts talking about that. Or if you're a fan of a certain cable news station, they have apps that you can download: MSNBC, Fox, CNN, MSNBC. Or if you're a regular watcher of cable news and opinion, whether the host is Anderson Cooper or Sean Hannity or Rachel Maddow, a lot of times their portions of their show will be on YouTube the next morning. Now, you may only get them in 15-minute segments, or sometimes you may get like a whole half hour, an hour. If you find that that's not good enough, you want, the Foxes and CNN, there are packages you can get off of the Orange or Blue Network. I think the Blue Network has more news stations. I think they have both Fox and CNN, and also some other news providers. So when you look at Amazon Prime and HBO Max, and Netflix, they have excellent programs. But as far as news and sports, except for sports documentaries, they have fantastic sports documentaries, at least Netflix does. Then you may want to check things like Sling TV or YouTube TV.
It really is.
YouTube has a lot of great movies too. You can Google the 100 best movies on YouTube. They're all free. You can, as I said before, you can watch some of those news segments, interviews by your favorite news hosts. Now, you may not give you the whole content. Sometimes they do, but usually it's the day after. But YouTube has a lot of great things, and there's YouTube. The content is just growing exponentially as we speak. So a lot of youth, like teens, they watch more YouTube than they watch any of the channels that we're talking about. So, if you look at your streaming channels, YouTube, the DVDs that we have here at the library, you can always find enjoyable things to watch, and hopefully, cut on your bill as well. The other thing is, if you're looking for a particular show or movie or documentary, and there's just so much content on Netflix or Amazon or any of these streaming channels, there's usually up on the top left a little magnifying glass. Think of Sherlock Holmes, and then you can click on that and you can type in the title of that particular show or movie. Or if you're wondering, does Amazon Prime have the 1985 movie Manhunter with William Peterson, was the first time we see Hannibal Lecter in a movie. It's a great movie.
You can get anything you want.
Amazon Prime finally had it. Another interesting thing is on series. Do you want to watch a whole series all at once, or do you mind watching something every week or waiting a week to see the next episode? So if you like it all at once, Netflix is the channel for you. HBO, Showtime, and often Amazon Prime will give you that episode per week. So if you don't mind waiting, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, Showtime are the ones to go with. If you're a binge watcher, you want to watch the whole season in on a weekend. I love Netflix. I love to watch it all at once, but then you're over it in a weekend. There's some advantages and disadvantages to both. I find if for us, Netflix, as far as documentaries, they're fantastic shows. I think the movies, especially classic movies, I found Amazon Prime is better, but that's just my take on it. You may find it's different. The great thing about streaming is you can just sample it and dump it in a month or two. And also when you get involved with Googling like what's on that streaming service for that month, you feel like you're actually the programmer to your own viewing station. You're more active in it, I think, as opposed to when you just sort of passively watch. But you may find that you want to go back. You may try all these things and say, you know what, I like Comcast or I like DirecTV, and they'll take you back, and they may even offer you a deal because you'll love them. So, we're not saying, and find out what you want, get more of, and maybe find a price that you like better. That's what we're hoping will come out of it. We're not experts in television viewing, but to tell you the truth, when we started this, we thought maybe we'd get 8 to 10 people. We had no idea that the response. This is our second presentation, and we had over 50 people, and we've got people watching at home. Hey guys, how you doing? So we're really surprised that the interest is there, is as big as it is. So
There is one other option that's totally free. I've kind of forgotten about it, honestly, as we were talking about it, and then it just hit me.
Mime, right?
Mime. Puppet show. So if you have no internet, or you don't want to pay for internet, and you don't want to pay for TV, there is one option left that is free that you guys have access to. It's below our feet. There are thousands and thousands of DVDs, TV shows, all that stuff. We have folks that come in on a Friday night, they take a stack like this, and that is literally their week's entertainment, because they don't have internet, they don't have TV, nothing. They got a DVD player, that's it. So that's another option that is free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the question is, over the air antenna, how come sometimes your picture is good and the other times the picture's not so good? Even with our big outdoor antenna, exactly what you'd say. We get wink, crystal clear, just like over satellite. The next day, scrambled. And then give it an hour, it was fine. So I don't know if it's something through, that's if it's the weather or what, but yeah. That can happen, but there is another tool that I think Bill and I both use. It's called IMDb. Was that International Movie Database?
Internet Movie Database, yeah.
So if you want to go there, you go to imdb.com, or they have an app on the phone. You put in whatever it is you're looking for that you want to watch. It'll tell you everything you ever wanted to know about it, but then there's a streaming part. It will say, this is streaming on it'll show you your options. Or if it says like Amazon, rent it for $3.99 or buy it on Amazon for $14.99, whatever the pricing is, then you know. So for example, earlier today I looked up as an animated movie called Sing, and that's from Imagination Works or DreamWorks, something like that. You cannot get it unless you want to buy it. Okay. Now I was like, okay, so I put in On Golden Pond. So if anybody's familiar with that movie, that's an older movie, right? 1981, I believe.
Mhm.
You can get it on 10 different streaming apps. Some of them is on Pluto and Tubi. So, but I instantly knew I could go there and watch it and stream that particular content on those shows without trying to drive yourself bonkers going through all the apps trying to find it. So they make an app for your phone, your tablet, that works on the website, of course. So, but that's something like if somebody comes to the desk and they're saying, specifically, the other thing I use it for, somebody comes to the desk and say, hey, I got grandkids coming. I want to get this movie. Is it safe? You can go on there and they'll break it down by all the different categories and they'll tell you if it's got something you should be worried about in it or not before you put it on. So it's another great tool. IMDb. Yep, I didn't write that in your book. So yeah, yep,
Yep,
.com. Yep.
Internet Movie Database, IMBD.com.